Hello, welcome to Painting with Jasmine Rempel Art. I'm Jasmine, and today I'm going to be working on another Christmas tree card. This time I'm going to do it in a horizontal format, and I'll have 3 trees. I'll be using some metallic paint and some this basic watercolor paint. I've been having a lot of fun doing these in all different styles and forms. So I hope you're joining me today and that you are inspired to create your own. So I'll quickly go through my supplies and then we'll get going. This is a Strathmore watercolor card. I buy these in sets of 100 from Amazon. They come in smaller sets as well. The card is it's 5 by 7. I have tape in it because I was pressing it down to take a picture. It's 5 by 7. It's blank inside. Strathmore watercolor, 140 pounds cold pressed. I've been using these for a couple of years now and I really like them. They're working well for me. I have adhered my card to a little board so I can move it around if I want to. I've got some Kosher Salt here, some water, paper towel, a few brushes. I've got a number 0 round, a number 4 round, and I've got a liner or rigger brush, just a number 1. So a small, medium, and liner. I've got some metallic paint here. If you're interested in the brand, it's Fine Tec Pearlescent colors. And I'm using Windsor professional level watercolor paint. I also have some tape here that I'm going to use. I got this tape from Amazon. It's basically thin painter's tape, which is best to use when making a set of trees. If you're creating just a single tree, you can use masking tape, thick, but I'd recommend getting some thin tape unless you want to cut your masking tape into strips, which I don't fully recommend. Okay, but I'm sure you're creative and maybe you can do it better than I can. Okay, so let's get going. The first thing I'm going to do is to tape off the center tree, fairly centered anyway, leaving room for a star at the top. So pressing down on the tape, I want it pressed down so that when I apply paint to it, the paint does not run under the tape and make a mess. So far I have not had that problem, thankfully. I would like this one to go down a little lower, so I'll make the tree a little shorter. And there we go. Good. And then I'm going to do a couple of trees at the side. They will be shorter than this one. Oops, that tree's going to have a bump in it, which might be okay, but I don't really want it to today. I'll even out that tape. Now I saw the idea for these trees online. I don't recall where. In fact, I think they're all over. I think there's people doing them on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Facebook. And so, yeah, I was inspired. I thought, oh, that's something so simple and easy and something I could do for my family and friends. And also something that you can kind of play around with and do many different styles of this triangular tree. And that's what I've been up to for the last few days. In fact, I have a few more videos on my YouTube channel of ones that I've done. If you want to check that out, you'll find different techniques, salt techniques, creating sparkly lights with water technique, big trees, little trees, and more. Okay, so I've taped that off. I like it. I think I've got a tall, skinny, a small skinny, and a small fat. So some variety there. Now it's time to paint. I'm reaching for my number 4 brush. I'm going to start with some wet on wet. I'm going to wet my little tree. I want the inside of the triangle to be nice and wet, and I want to see a little sheen from the water, and that's how I know it's wet. I'm not sure if you saw a sheen there, but if you tilt your board, if you have one, or just put your head to the side, you'll be able to see a little glistening on the water, and that way you know if you've missed a patch or not. Mine's ready. There's not so much water that it's spilling over, and it's ready to absorb some paint, but I forgot to spray my paint, so I'll do that right now. I'm going to basically use pinks, purples, I think today with blues. So I'll reach into this purple. This is called, I always end up forgetting, this is Windsor Violet. I'll spread that down a bit. And I'll go in and take some blue. I'm going to reach into Prussian Blue today. And do a little bit of blending. Not too much. I want some of that pure color to show and some to be blended. So that looks nice right there. Now I'm going to want to put some salt down, just the tiniest little sprinkling. There we go. Just push it off this tree as I'm moving next to my middle tree. That salt is going to end up creating sparkly effects, and I like that. So now I'm getting water on my center tree again to do the wet on wet. You don't have to do wet on wet. You could put wet paint on the dry paper, but the salt works better when you start with a wet on wet. Okay, so I'm going to use the same blue just for some consistency or unity from one tree to the next. Spread that around, and then I'm going to reach, I think this time, for my permanent rose. Beautiful color this is. And now I've blended a bit, and so I'm going to end up with some purple as well. And that's nice. Again, I don't want it all blended. I want to see some of the original colors. Just play around with it a little. Okay, that's nice. I'll leave it there. It's quite bright. I'll draw someone's eye. And let's just get a little bit of that kosher salt again. Table salt will work just fine if you do not have kosher salt. I like kosher salt. It has bigger granules, and I don't know. I have a video on YouTube of experimenting with different types of salts if you want to check it out. I experiment with pickling salt, kosher salt, sea salt, and more. And through my years of painting, which it's not tons of years of watercolor, 3 I think going on to, kosher salt is the one I tend to gravitate to for my winter cards. It makes really nice snow or star effects for night scenes, winter night scenes. All right, and again, I'm going to use that same blue. Goodness, don't feel you have to follow my colors. Use any colors you want. It's good if they have a deeper value, because if you're going to end up using some of that metallic color, I'm reaching now for, I think I wanted some green with it. If you're going to use, what was I talking about? out before the green. Oh boy. A deeper value. Yeah, if you're going to use metallic paint, it sort of shows up best when you've got a darker color to put it on top of. Okay, there's that nice green there. And all right, this one will be interesting. I kind of feel like maybe I should have done another violet to make it more cohesive, but that's okay. Art is art, and goodness, I love to experiment and try new things, and mistakes end up becoming, honestly, the way to learn and the way to discover new and exciting things. All right, so salt is down, so I need to let this dry naturally. I do not want to rub off this salt until this is fully dry. So let me lift this up for you to see what's happening in the first one that I did. And that's the lovely twinkling light effect I have. And I will just come back to you in a little bit. This is dry now, and I've rubbed off the salt. And so now I'm going to go about doing some decorations. I'll keep them pretty simple because the salt has created some nice effects in the background, and I want those to show. So here we go. I'm reaching for some gold. This is called Pearl Gold. And I've got my number 0 brush. It's got a nice fine tip on it. And so I can get some nice details. Just going to make a garland on this one. Seems that it's going to be a fairly wide garland. Unintentional, but I'll go with the flow. This might be my, I don't know, somewhere between 18th and 20th card that I've done in this kind of tree style. And so by this time I've decided if something's thick, let it be thick. If it's thin, let it be thin. Go with the flow, and that kind of gives it this nice spontaneous look. I don't want to fuss, I just want to enjoy the process. Okay, there's that one. Move into the next tree, and I'll just do some balls, some circles. Now I do have, I don't know if I've already mentioned this, and if I have, forgive me, but I do have other tutorials showing these trees. In fact, I think this is going to be my 4th one, and each one has a different way of doing them, a different technique. So if you want to be inspired, if you're inspired by this and you want to see other ideas, just go in to my videos and pick another. They're all nice and short, just 20 minutes-ish each. And yeah. And if you want to see more than all of this, like and subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you with me. I'm open to feedback if you have something you want to share with me, something you've liked, or an area you think I can improve. I'd be delighted to hear from you. All right, I've got some small balls, some big balls, just like a Christmas tree might have. And I'll move on to my last one. And what will I do here? I think I'll do these little, kind of like little star shapes. I'll come closer for you to see this. See what I'm doing here. I'll just hold this up. Almost like lights that are twinkling. I'm trying to show you the gold. There we go. You can see it now. Almost done. Do one more. Okay. That's cute. I'll peel off the tape. And will I? Yes, it's time to peel off the tape. To be careful when you're peeling off tape. I have had occasions where my paper has ripped. It doesn't seem to with this narrow tape for some reason, but when I use masking tape around the borders of my cards, it does rip. So what I do to stop that is I blow dry the tape first, and that warms up the sticky stuff and it just peels off better. Okay, these are really small. That's okay. They're going to have stars and stems, so let's move on to that. Stems. Just little rectangles at the bottom. Let's start with some ultramarine blue. I think I used that here. This could have been Prussian. I can't remember now. I think that's Prussian, so let's do the ultra here. Few little lines while I measure out where I want my stem. My trunk, I should say. Okay. And let's, I forget what color. I think I had Prussian blue and permanent rose, and they created this purple. So let's do that. Here's Prussian blue, there's the permanent rose, so there's the purple. Yeah, a little more water in there. There we go. If I have too much water, I rub my brush off on the paper towel. Again, I'm thankful for these paintbrushes. They have such fine tips that I can get these little tiny details. And last one, and I am not being paid by Black Velvet series, Black Velvet Silver series of paintbrushes. I don't get paid at all to do these videos. I just do them because I enjoy doing them. And I learned from others by following videos, so it's kind of a give back type thing. I am a teacher. I've been teaching elementary school for going on 17 years. I'm not teaching this year. I have unfortunately gotten sick. And I'm in treatment right now, so I have more time to paint, but I do teach. And that's partly, I guess, why I enjoy doing the tutorials. I can talk, kind of teaching while I'm doing what I love. Okay, stars. We've got our trunks. Here's a little star with the gold. And another one. Being careful not to rub my first one, because of course it's wet. Okay, two little stars and one more. Sweet. All right, I'm going to see, you probably can't see it, but there's a little bit of pink here, so I'm getting it wet. And I've got a tissue and I'm gonna try to dab and rub that off. I think it's come from my nail polish though, so I don't think that's coming off. That's okay. All right, number 4 brush. Last step is some splatter paint. So I'm getting my number 4 brush wet, going into that gold and making a nice fluid mixture. And I'm just going to tap this on to the background. You won't probably see it going on, but once I take the card off, I will show you what it looks like under the light. The camera doesn't really pick up the splatter. At least it didn't on the last video I did. I watched it and didn't see the splatter. Okay, and let's also use some, let's use some of that blue, some ultramarine blue. Goes on nicely. Yeah, that's great. And I'm just going to tap the tree. I don't want splatters on my tree, so I'm picking it up. Super. Okay, I'm going to sign this, take it off, and then show you under the light so you can see all the sparkle. J. Rempel. Great. And let's have a look at it. So pretty. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you create your own and that you share with me what you've made. Happy creating and bye for now.